It may be true that nobody tosses a dwarf, but we're going to toss some chairs at some. This is We Are The Dwarves from Whale Rock Games. It's a Unity game for about 15... Oh, wow, it's 20 Canadian dollars. Goddamn exchange rate. Ow. It hurts me every time I look at it. And what is it? We Are The Dwarves is a real-time action tactical adventure game where you take control of 3 dwarven astronauts and get them killed over and over and over and over again. And these guys did send us some keys, so we gotta give them shout-outs for that. So let's kick off the CHAIRQUISITION. 1 chair means that it's garbage. 2 chairs means that's meh. 3 chairs means that it's pretty good. 4 chairs means that it's awesome. We also got our categories. Oh, Doom. Makes with the working, shiny sounds, controls, and fun. So, Ven, did We Are The Dwarves make with the working?
Well, over here on the Ubuntu, 8150 powered, 980 displayed with the 4Ks. Ran all right. Pretty good. Yeah, all right. It ran. Yeah, that's about the nicest thing we're going to say about this game from here on. However, let's talk performance with the 980s. At 1080p, a solid 60. At 2160, you're probably going to be dealing with the mid-40s, 45, something like that. But one thing it did, it produced the Unity Unity Scream of Nope.
And you emitted the Unity Scream of Nope.
It's brilliant.
Yes.
You got to own it like a boss. In 2016, and that is definitely a no-no, so you, ding, lose a chair for that, period. But I'll give it 3 chairs. I mean, it ran.
Yes, sometimes when it felt like it. On the Fedora 22 64-bit powered Intel i7-6700K with the NVIDIA GTX 980. Yeah, well, of course I have to ding it a chair because of the Unity screen. That's just no. It's 2016, guys. Come on. And it gets another chair ding because I tried playing this in UHD without Steam overlay on, so theoretically I shouldn't have any issues, right? Wrong. Basic functionality doesn't work. I'll get into it a little bit more later, but in short, the journal causes the game to go completely non-responsive, and the videos for the tutorial bits don't show up, which led to some embarrassing running and getting murdered a whole bunch until I realized, oh, you stay put. 2 chairs.
Yeah, on the Amiga with the FX 8370E overclocked at 4.2 gigahertz and the GTX 970 Strix, it ran. At first, it didn't have the Unity Screen of Nope. They actually added that in with a patch. That's the kind of brilliant decision that can only be taught at the Natural Selection 2 School of Development. Hey, developers, you fucked up. All right then, motherfuckers. Here's the source code. You fucking figure it out. Of course, they also took a correspondence course from the AMD University and have just decided to phone it in. As in, they're not actually giving you the source code. It's just a lazy pop-up because they couldn't be arsed. 3 chairs.
Okay, I'm pretty sure Pedro had a point buried in there somewhere. But up next is Shiny and Sound.
Oh, what's the total for that?
Did I not say? It's 2 chairs. 4 mixed with the working. But yes, Shiny Sounds.
Okay, you know what? The game actually is not fugly by any stretch of your imagination, Oregon. The levels, they're well done, and the dwarves definitely look the part. Unfortunately, the palette is based on the color dark, and that can make it extremely easy to bump into the baddies, which there are plenty of them. The voice acting, it does exist, but only one of them, I don't want to be dwarfist, but only one of them genuinely sounds like what you would think a dwarf sounds like. But do yourself a favor and listen, because reading that Google translated text very well could break your brain organ if you have an issue with bad grammar like I do. #aneurysm. And if it had background music, I genuinely never noticed. So it looks all right. It's a bit dark. It has voice acting. Doesn't really remind you of dwarves. And, yeah, the text is really bad Russian to every other language on our planet with Google Translate. So you're going to get 2 chairs for that business.
You know, speaking of Google Translated subtitles, for extra fun, watch this review on YouTube with subtitles enabled. There you go.
Closed captions.
See, it's fantastic. Yeah, but so I love space dwarves. The aesthetic is really unique. I like dwarves in space. It reminds me of 40K. It scratches that kind of itch. And the models certainly are on point. Everything looks pretty good, zoomed into that little fucking box that you can't escape from at 4K, at 1080, or whatever the hell it is. And the voice acting actually reminds me a lot of the narration from the first Wizard album, Bound by Metal, which is a plus in my book. So that's I like it. I'll at least from a visual and audio perspective, I'll give it 3 chairs.
Yeah, well, dwarves in power armor will always look anachronistic no matter what setting your game takes place on, except maybe 40K. But yeah, it is the natural progression. It is the natural progression of the Tolkienist dwarves. They're the stonemasons and the blacksmiths, so it makes sense that in the future they would be the ones lobbing around in big-ass power armor. And it also makes them slightly taller, just in case they feel like the humans and elves are, looking down on them.
Uppity bitches.
But yeah, the voice acting was a nice touch, but every dwarf outside the first one that you play with in the tutorial, they all sound like they're out to make me look proficient in English by comparison. The graphics look pretty damn good. It's just unfortunate that you can only see around 6 feet worth of graphics around your character at any point. But more on that later. 3 chairs.
All right, so that's 2 chairs for the shiny and the sands. Up next is where it all goes downhill. Control, Ven. Tell me about mouth
You're
display.
acting like it's gotten off to a great start, brother Spain. Oh, shall I elaborate? Here's the thing. What would you call this? Kind of a top-down slant angle. Yeah,
Isometric almost.
Yeah, Persuado.
Yeah, isometric is fixed.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
well, here's the thing. I can only spin the camera in a circle, and I just find that fascinating. I really do. I mean, fortunately, you can at least zoom in and... wait. Oh, for fuck's sake. Nope, you can't do that. Next thing you're going to tell me that I can't change the actual perspective. Oh.
No, you can't.
Holy fuck snacks. All right. If you're going to lock my field of view like that, why the hell didn't they just make it a first-person shooter so I'd have a fucking whole idea, maybe, just maybe, what was going wrong? Because everything's going to go wrong. Now, let's talk about movement. Because this is torchlight style. You click, 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 and that's how you move. Thing with this has a new challenging mode because not all of the clicks actually register. More often than not, you'll need to click. Think about it. Gentlemen, like when you're trying to pick up a gem, how many times do you have to click on that damn gem before it feels like, oh, yes, gem, maybe I'll pick this up, finally. And it's kind of sad because clicks shouldn't be suggestions versus actual control. Now, if you mix all that nightmare fuel together with a lack of a keyboard shortcut to lock onto enemies when shit gets actually real, you're just left with a click fest of nope that doesn't work half the damn time. And it didn't work with my Nintendo Power Pad. So, fuck this game. 1 chair.
Did it work with your Logitech driving wheel, though?
Yes.
All right, that's the important thing. But dear God, the camera control is just horrendous. I don't know, maybe I've been spoiled with XCOM or Shadowrun or all these other games that let you control the camera, but I would maybe like some hotkeys to rotate that, because right-clicking and dragging it around, especially when you don't really have a pause option, you have the slow-mo option where you just die really, really slowly to try and find a good camera angle is not fun at all. And I ran into some issues, as I mentioned before, playing this game at UHD, because stuff doesn't actually show up, especially in the tutorial. Videos that explain how moves work don't happen. They just give you a little text that doesn't really describe it all that well. The journal just doesn't show up. It crashes the game. And yeah, I mean, like, the prime example of it is when you get the melee characters, there's that move that stops the dude from attacking you, right? Yeah, it doesn't show me the video that says I have to stay put and wait for that to complete. Because if you click away from something, it cancels the move you're already doing. Which, like Ven said, because clicks are more of suggestions, gets you screwed over more times than not. And honestly, the big crime here is if you can't move and use a move, then if I launch the move, lock my movement. Like, don't let me move anymore. Or else you're just going to cancel the move. Torchlight got that right. Satellite Ring got that right. You have no excuse. 1 chair.
Yeah, I didn't actually have all those issues, namely the ones where it didn't register to clicks, because I kind of worked for me. But hey, why can't I tilt the camera up and down? Why can't I zoom in and out? Why do indie developers feel like they have to reinvent the wheel in order to get their idea of mechanics/plot across the exact way they want you to experience it? Oh, it's a game. It's an interactive thing. No, you're going to experience it the way we want it. But anything other than that...
They didn't reinvent the wheel, Pager. They just kind of filed down a square.
Yeah, apparently. But...
Into an hexagon.
I actually lost count how many times I died because I procced a ranged enemy that was just far enough away not to show up in the very limited field of view that you can see at any time. And my character just dropped because I didn't even realize that I was losing HP on account of this game having shitty feedback. The combat is also about as satisfying and impactful as blowing spitballs at a concrete wall. Some game stipulations, as it were, like a wide-ranging camera in a third-person view game, exist for a reason. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel, okay? It gets 2 chairs because I didn't have as many issues as Ben and Jordan did.
All right, well, that's still 1 chair for control. But the real question is, after all of this nightmare fuel, Ben, did you have fun?
It was brilliant, man. It was one of the best times I've had this week. I mean, outside of, like, gluing my hand organ together. Seriously, after 115 minutes and 11 achievements later, I'm kind of stuck in a spot. And what's worse than that, gentlemen, I don't care. It's okay. I mean, this is 100% fuck you hard for the sake of being fuck you hard. And that works for games like Super Meat Boy and other things like that. Just not for this genre. It's bad. Yes, I know they retroactively added the easy mode, but all that does is it allows you to save. That's it. I mean, that's easy. And that doesn't fix the core issue, which is the controls. Throws a chair, hashtag Steve Ballmer. Having the movement and the camera controls locked to the gerbil, which you do, you got click and you got right click to move the camera. It's just beyond hella stupid. I mean, it basically forces you to use the slow-mo mechanic, which it has when you hit space, slows everything down, and you don't have to use that any time you want to attack more than one thing. And I guess that technically passes for real-time tactics? ? I'm not really sure, but maybe it passes for real-time tactics when the AI is not just flipping the hell out, because that is another common issue you do. If they had working camera control, I would probably have a different look on this critter, because there are genuinely times where you can rotate, but when you're trying to look around a corner to get some idea, it will just block all vision. I mean, it'll just go black screen, that's racist. And that'll be the thing. And in a game where stealth is a thing, not being able to see fucks everything out of the gate, man. I mean, seriously, because there's no wiggle room. 99% of the time, if you accidentally trigger a baddie, it results in a squad wipe or a dwarf wipe. Show title. That's not fun. That doesn't make people rage quit. That doesn't make people go to YouTube and go PewDiePie all over it. No, it causes them, listen to this, it causes them to calmly close your game and request a refund, Brad, because that's what I would have done, but you gave us copy. 1 chair.
So when I saw this game at first, I'm like, this is kind of cool. It's like Space Hulk meets Satellite Rain meets yeah, and except those games were competent at what they did. I really wanted to like this game because I love sci-fi fantasy mashup. That's one of my favorite genres. The game is a turd. What could be a decent game is just completely just hamstrung by the awful controls. Ben has gone and railed against them in the past, but I mean, it just goes. It needs to be reiterated. It's just bad. It's bad, Brad. Your view is locked to this tiny portion of the map. Things will just come out of nowhere and murder you. And you have to find stuff that blends into the background. It's like, oh yeah, it glows a little bit. If your camera is angled at the right location. Otherwise, it just doesn't show up and takes maybe 3-4 passes of the map to actually find it. And then you just get like the nonstop dying because you didn't issue the correct commands in the correct order. So it just becomes this whole issue of trying it again and again and again with different combinations until you get the right one. And that's not fun. I can maybe play this game for about 15 minutes at a time without having to like get up and avoid smashing my face on my keyboard. Sorry, guys. I wanted to like it, but it's not a good game. One share.
Yeah. At first, I was kind of iffy about this game because I started playing it and I'm like, okay, there's nothing majorly wrong with it. So why am I not having fun? I mean, is it an RPG? Is it a single player MOBA? I don't really have an issue with either of those. I liked what I've played so far of Necro, and this is basically Diablo with World of Warcraft combat. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. This is a single player linear progression MMORPG. I should have realized that from the sheer amount of achievements for killing X amount of monster Y and the one-click combat. It's just like playing an RTS game where you control a teeny tiny regiment. Get it? Because they're dwarves? Never mind. The game
racist.
claims you're progressing, but it seems more keen to actively reward you with even more achievements for fucking up than when you actually make progress. There's not one big thing wrong with the game that kills it. It's just a pile of small nagging issues and mechanics, which are like someone played a tutorial for World of Warcraft and or Guild Wars over and over and nothing else. That's what kills it for me. Dark Souls and Bloodborne can get away with fucking balls to the walls hard combat because the combat in those games is actually skill-based. If you're fucked up, it's your fault. Here, it's trial and error. And that's bad, lazy game design. Visually and audibly, the game is its selling points. Its looks and sounds great. It's a shame the mechanics are bare bones at best. One chair.
So what kind of game design was it again, Pedro?
What?
Exactly. One chair for fun. And if we tally all that up, we get one chair for We Are the Dwarves. Gentlemen, what are your final thoughts?
Well, mechanics make or break a game. I will tolerate shitty graphics or even put up with a completely dissonant, incoherent, or inconsistent story. Bound by Flame comes to mind. But if your game's mechanics fail on a fundamental level, like it does in We Are the Dwarves, to the point where I can't even enjoy caving in the skulls of alien goblins, I can't recommend it. I mean, for fuck's sake, you made battling alien goblins boring.
Really, all I can say about this is every time you die, and that's pretty much all you do. This game was designed from the ground up. And I was like, haha, see how difficult we've made this? And it says, you are dead. So this is You Are Dead Simulator 2016.
Yeah, really. If you want a fun tactical mashup of sci-fi and fantasy, go play Shadowrun Returns or Hong Kong or Dragonfall.